Hey, welcome into the latest edition of Chalk Talk from the Denver Pioneers as the summer continues rolling along here on campus at DU. My name is Tyler Maun, thrilled to be joined for the first time as head coach of Denver men's lacrosse by Matt Brown, who joins us from the swanky new office. He's the William G. Tierney head men's lacrosse coach nowadays, something that we've been waiting to talk about for a long time. It's kind of weird for me to think this is our first interview in this context because we're such, old, long-time interview professionals together, but now I get to greet you as a head coach. What's going on, man? It's good to see you.
Honor, great to see you, buddy. Excited to spend some time with you. Hopefully you've had a good summer so far. It's nice to finally be back in the office. Had a busy summer with the World Championships and being on the road recruiting, but we're starting to get everything lined up to welcome the guys back this September.
Well, this is such an exciting time of year, and it's also kind of the calm before the storm for you guys as a staff. You've made staff additions. You've gotten a lot of word on players who are going to be back for 2024. But before we get to all of that, I just want to ask what the last few months have been like for you. You've been waiting around for a little while since we knew that Coach T was formally retiring, and then since we knew that you had formally been named the next head coach, and now it's your ship to steer. What's it been like getting adjusted to this role now as being the head man of this program?
Yeah, it's been great, and luckily for me, Coach T is just down the road, and we still talk every single day, so it's great having him as support, but the biggest thing has just been kind of turning the chapter and not forgetting about last year, but moving on from last year and learning from last year and being motivated for this upcoming fall and this group that we have coming back. We've got a phenomenal group, and we've hit the road, running, really from a recruiting standpoint. We've been kind of all over the country, kind of finding those future pios. As you mentioned, we made some additions to our staff, which has been really exciting. David Metzbauer is going to be joining us here starting August 1st and making the move out to the Mile High City. And I know he's really excited about that. So we're just kind of getting everything, all situated for welcoming these freshmen back on Labor Day.
Let's talk about that addition to your staff. There was the conversation, knowing that you were going to be moving into a head coaching role. Well, who's going to fill that offensive coordinator spot? And names get thrown out there, and then you get to bring in a guy who's coached for 37 years, won 7 NCAA championships, has combined for over 400 wins in his career as a coach at various stops. I mean, talk about pulling off a coup. This is as big of a splash coaching hire for your coordinator as you could have hoped for. What was the process of getting him here? David Metzbauer, obviously longtime friend of yours, friend of Coach T's. His daughter, Jordan, formerly a member of the staff at DU. She's moved on. She's the director of lacrosse operations at Towson now. But this is such a cool family addition, it feels like. Somebody who's so familiar with what you want to do to build this program and who brings all the experience in the world now to join your staff.
Yeah, honestly, I think we got lucky. We got lucky with this one, and timing is everything. Obviously, John Gallant's going to be back, as our defensive coordinator and coming into his 6th year with the Pioneers, and he just did a fantastic job with our defense, last year. So we're stable there. We feel like we've kind of solidified ourselves at the defensive end. And excited to see what John can continue to do with that group kind of moving forward. And then, I started this whole offensive coordinator, assistant coach position search before David Metzbauer was even available. And so we kind of started through that whole process. We had a ton of interest. There was, close to 50 applicants that put their name in the hat. I went through the process of interviewing a whole bunch of different people from all different types of backgrounds. I was really excited to learn about who was out there. I was excited to see, some of the differences. And then all of a sudden, David Metzi becomes available. And so that kind of threw the whole search on a bit of a twist. And, how can you not reach out to a 7-time national champion, and, without question, the greatest assistant coach that our sport has really ever seen. And so, here I am as a first-time head coach, and I get to add the greatest assistant coach that our sport's ever seen to our staff, it's kind of a no-brainer. And then from my own personal standpoint, being an offensive guy, and Metzi and I have known each other for a long, long time, obviously with the connection with Coach T. And you mentioned Jordan being our student manager for 4 years here when she was doing her undergrad as a PIO. We've talked a lot in the past about offense and about lacrosse in general. We're different, we're different. And that's what I'm excited about. Metzi has this long history of, hammering home, foundation, right. And fundamentals. I've kind of helped bring some more of the gray into the game with more of a box background, and Coach T kind of loosening the reins and giving me the reins, when we first got together. And so us coming together, I'm really excited. I'm excited to be able to get into the office and jump on the whiteboard and dive into some film with him. And I know he's got a ton of fire as well. So he gets out here the second week of August, and looking forward to kind of finally, our staff's all over the place throughout the course of the summer. But, the second week of August, we'll all be under one roof back in the Ritchie Center, and we'll have some great meetings.
Well, this summer, as you noted a little while ago, it's been jam-packed for you. And I want to talk about recruiting and all that kind of stuff, but I also want to talk about the World Championships, which you had in San Diego. And to be on the side of a team where you've got a lot of guys from your time here in Denver, and be playing against another team where maybe even more guys from your time in Denver as the head coach of the Canada national squad against the U.S. with a gold medal on the line. What was that? It's not an entirely foreign experience to you being in those moments, but I would imagine there's something special about it every time when you're playing with a world championship on the line and you've got guys that and love on both sides. The U.S. wins that championship, and it's a crown for Trevor Baptiste and Danny Logan and TD Erlin. Your guys get silver, so there's some bittersweetness there. What are the emotions like for you in those situations?
It's an interesting experience, actually really unique, and it's amazing, cool experience. It's something that I'm so thankful that I've been blessed that I've been able to have the opportunity to do it a number of times. But being with that type of talent and those types of players, and having two on the U.S. team, 2 piles on the U.S. team, 2 piles on the Canada team, and kind of competing, you for those 2 hours, you take your pile hat off and you battle it out, and they do the same, and that's the way it should be. But then afterwards, and even it's tough, as tough as it is losing. No one likes to lose, and especially me. And so you're upset and bummed with the whole situation. And I didn't feel we played our best game, in the championship game. I felt really good going into it after playing the Haudenosaunee in the semifinals. But then you take a couple seconds back and you step back away from it all. And as a PIO, you're proud of Trevor and Danny, and those 2 guys they were fantastic throughout the course of the whole tournament. In my opinion, 2 of the top 3 players that they had on their roster. And Trevor was a bear, as he always is, at the X, establishing the possession game, and Danny is without question the best, short stick team midi there is in our game right now. So couldn't be more proud of those guys. And then TD, a PIO as well, who we had for 1 year, but the 2-headed monster at the Face-Off X got the best of us. Westberg, it seems like forever ago, but for me, not that long ago, when Wes was in 2014 as still a college player, playing in his first world championship and winning the gold medal here in Denver, and then hoisting the national championship for us here, with the PIOs in 2015. And for him to be on that roster for one more go, I thought was a special moment. And then Casey Wilson kind of cutting his teeth, and this will be the first of many for him as he progresses throughout the course of his career. So the World Championships is a special thing, and just lucky to be a part of it.
Outside of that, you are simultaneously trying to continue building on the foundation that you were able to build under Coach T over the last decade plus, and now get things ready for the first season under your head coaching tenure. What is the recruiting process like? What is this time of year like for you, where you're sort of out of the summer doldrums? You're not yet into getting everybody back on campus, but I would imagine still a very busy time of year. What is this late July, early August stretch like for you?
Well, from a recruiting standpoint, you're really identifying and kind of cleaning up your list and your boards for the rising junior class. So that would be the 2025 class right now. And John has been on the road, all summer long, and I was able to join him here through the course of the last 3 weeks. And the landscape of our sport right now when it comes to summer recruiting is kind of crazy. You can go to an event pretty much every single day through the summer months of June and July, and you can watch kids play. So we've been able to get our eyes on a lot of top talent. So we're getting ready for September 1st. September 1st will be the first time we can have initial contact with those rising juniors. And so for us right now, it's just identifying talent, evaluating them, doing some research behind the scenes, talking to high school coaches, talking to club coaches, and kind of getting our group together that we want to target come September 1st. And then all while doing from that recruiting side is getting our team ready, getting our freshmen move in on September 5th. That we'll have a freshman picnic. Coach T and Helen always did a freshman picnic. A lot of people have asked me what's going to change and what's going to stay the same. We're going to continue to do a freshman picnic. So Jewel and I are going to host our newcomers and their families over at our house on the first day, and then they have orientation week for the rest of the week, and then we'll slowly start to dive into fall ball. And just excited to get this group, excited for the incoming class, excited for the returners, excited for the super seniors, those fifth year guys that are coming back for one last year. We've got great leadership in our locker room, and I know everybody's kind of eager to, ready to get back to work.
You do have a lot of guys who are going to be back, like you said, those super seniors, and the COVID extra year of eligibility, that turn is now coming to an end for college athletes, but you get so much experience back. And I know just on the list of guys who are returning next year, you've got Jake Ettinger and JJ Silstrop, AJ Mercurio, Richie Connell, Jack DiBenedetto, Alex Dathakis. That is a very jam-packed, talented group. And not only that, but it feels like the type of group that can help establish the identity that you guys have already built through a coaching change. There is so much continuity, but you still need to hold on to those pillars. What does it mean for you as a head coach, a first-year head coach, to have a core group that you can lean on, guys who have been there, who can help you in that transition of communicating to the young guys, hey, this is how it's been done here, and this is how it's going to continue to be done here?
Yeah, again, I feel like I'm really fortunate, and lucky to have this group. We talked about it last year. That group of guys, really solidified our culture and got us kind of, I wouldn't say we weren't completely off track, but back on the track that we were on previously, and so they did a great job of managing the team. Our leadership council was as strong as it's ever been, and so to have those fifth year guys to come back for this one last year, our first year is kind of a new staff, a new direction, let's say. We're fortunate to have those guys. And then below them, the true seniors is a phenomenal group. And we want to make sure that because they don't have that extra COVID year, this is their last year as well. So this is an important year for us, not just on the playing field and the success that we're going to have competing, but to push the program forward, to make sure that the juniors, the sophomores, and the incoming freshmen all kind of know how we go about our business and what being a pioneer is all about. And so very lucky to have those super seniors coming back, and excited to see this group once we get them all back here on campus.
What excites you most about fall ball? You get the workouts, practices. You usually get that one scrimmage in against a top flight opponent, whether it's, it's been the Canadian national team in years past. It's been programs and teams that you like to gauge yourselves against in the fall. What for you is most exciting and is most important about this year's fall ball getting set for next season?
Uh, every year it's finding out what our identity is for the year. And every year it changes. Some years it's a subtle change, other years it's more of a drastic change. And so that's what I'm excited most about, is getting all the pieces to the puzzle on the table and starting to organize them and then putting them together. Fall is a time to really get your hands dirty and dive into the details, right? And instill your foundations of offensive 6-on-6, defensive 6-on-6, riding, clearing, transition, substitution games, new rules that come into play. We have some new rules where I know Nico Blankenship's going to be excited about this with video replay. We've got challenges finally in NCAA college lacrosse.
Finally,
that's exciting, Honor. That's CCBLL style, right? So I'm looking forward to that, but you got to figure that out. Just like we had to figure out the shot clock, and it took us some time. I feel like we've learned and we're there now. But figuring out our identity this fall is what I'm looking, most forward to.
one of the things over the last year that's been so cool for me to watch is how excited everybody around the game of lacrosse is for you to get this opportunity. That's been awesome, and nobody deserves that more than you do. On the flip side of that, now you've got this job. I would imagine that the phone calls and the handshakes and the pats on the back have gone from, yeah, great, congratulations, to now we want to kick your butt. What being part of the head coaching fraternity now in this sport, how cool has that been to see what it's like from the vantage point of everything through your eyes, being the head person of this program when you get to survey the landscape across college lacrosse?
Yeah, we have a great, coaches community, with the IMLCA, which Coach T is still the president of. And, he's been preaching since, probably since he's gotten into the game, but even more so now in the last five or 10 years, as kind of competition has ramped up and it's more competitive in recruiting, it's more competitive on the field. He continues to preach the brotherhood of it. And that is important. Some of my best friends are in the industry, and you get a chance to see them on the road. You can go and grab breakfast or dinner with them in between events. But you're right, when the summer ends, now all of a sudden those texts or phone calls don't come as often or frequently as they were during the summer months. So it's back to being on the field and competing against each other. But that's sports, right? And that's why we're all in it. That's why we're all addicted to it. The competitive piece of it is so important, and I wouldn't have it any other way. But no, we got a great community, and I'm thankful for all the support that we've had. But now it's time for the Pioneers to go be the Pioneers and go do what we're supposed to do.
All right, Brownie. Well, ordinarily, I wrap up these interviews by saying the associate head coach of the Denver Pioneers, but he is the head coach of the Denver Pioneers for 2024 and beyond. Matt Brown, it's so good to see you, buddy. I love the look of the new office behind you, and I can't wait to catch up on campus sometime soon. Thanks for the time.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
Wrapping up this week's episode of Chalk Talk. We'll talk to you next time for the Denver Pioneers.